Let's continue our discussion of Keith Hayward's book, Infantilised. Today is the 2RD part of our interpretation. This book might remind you of the popular concept known as pacifier entertainment. The idea behind this phrase is that elites in Western countries collude to make policies that pacify the public with feel-good education and dumb entertainment, keeping people well-fed, well-entertained, and disengaged. They don't expect citizens to contribute meaningfully, just to avoid causing trouble. While the elites, on the other hand, are busy confronting real challenges and seizing the reins of power. I don't believe pacifier entertainment is a conscious policy, because I don't believe anyone can fully control a complex society. As long as there's some degree of freedom and openness, people will pursue their own development. You can't stop that. However, the global trend of infantilization is real, though not by design. One prerequisite for this phenomenon is the abundance of material wealth. Only when people are well-fed, safe, and relatively unburdened can they afford to act childlike. But Hayward doesn't believe that a good life necessarily turns people into naive simpletons. He argues that specific mechanisms are at work. Today, we'll discuss the three main forces he identifies as driving infantilization. The first mechanism: advertising. You may be familiar with the French mineral water brand Evian, which markets itself as natural water from the Alps, positioned as a premium product. But at the end of the day, it's just water. How premium can water really be? To justify the price, it must offer emotional value. Evian ran a series of TV ads with the theme Live Young. But it went beyond youth. These ads depicted adults as babies. Some had adult heads on infant bodies. In one particularly clever ad, an adult looks into a mirror on the street and sees a toddler just learning to walk. The message is, aren't we all just babies? This imagery touches something inside us. Our childhood memories, our inner innocence, all are projected onto this bottle of water. These ads aren't telling you to pretend to be a baby, or reminding you that you used to be one. They are telling you that you still are a baby. That your natural state is innocence, cuteness, and carefree joy. Watching such ads doesn't feel like being marketed to. It feels like being invited into an experience. And that's what brilliant advertising does. It distorts reality. In our age, people don't buy products for utility. They buy them for emotional experience. That's largely because manufacturing has become so efficient. In developed nations, products are long past the point of scarcity. Basic needs have already been met. So marketers must create new desires. Advertising is no longer about usefulness. It's about cultural engineering. It makes you want something you never needed. Any water can quench thirst. Why choose Evian? Because Evian reconnects you with the innocent child within. Of course, no one believes mineral water is magical. This is postmodern aesthetics. What affects us isn't objective reality but a constructed hyperreality. We don't care which parts of it are real or exaggerated. We care about emotional impact and memorability. Whether the baby in the mirror is real doesn't matter. What matters is that you truly feel like there's a baby inside you. There are many forms of hyperreality. Advertisers focus on one specific flavor: freedom without responsibility. The freedom to consume, without the burden of earning, budgeting, or family obligations. Who gets to enjoy freedom without responsibility? Teenagers. That's why advertising loves to make people feel like teenagers. Slogans like "Be yourself" or "Live in the moment" tap into this adolescent mindset. Practicality implies responsibility, and that must be rejected. For example, a car is a means of transport, or maybe a status symbol reflecting hard work, but both are too practical, too boring. High-end car ads don't focus on transport or status. They focus on youthful energy. Cars are shown alongside skateboards or surfing, activities associated with the young. Likewise, beer isn't for socializing. It's for partying. Sports drinks aren't about health. They're about adventure. Don't bore me with adult responsibilities. We consume to escape our social roles. This spirit gave rise to the mook, the most popular male figure in TV ads. The mook is a man-child. Eternally adolescent, immature, a prankster who loves beer and sports. Not someone you'd call a family man. For women, the ideal ad figure is the midriff. Someone between a little girl and a teenage girl, noticeably more youthful than a grown woman. She's cute, with a touch of sex appeal, but not adult sensuality. These ads target female consumers by suggesting, deep down, you're still a little girl, playful, innocent, and desirable. Hayward believes these portrayals deliberately weaken adults' sense of responsibility, encouraging people to indulge their childlike selves. This leads to a culture of instant gratification. If you want it, buy it. No need to wait. Ads paint a world better than reality, and we want that world. No one truly believes Nike shoes let you leap buildings, or that Evian reverses aging. But we buy them anyway, as an expression of longing for an ideal world. Or maybe it's more than longing. I am an adult, so who says adults can't be babies? The second mechanism. Social media. While advertising makes us long for hyperreality, the internet immerses us in it. The internet has two key features. 1. Absolute physical safety. No matter what you do online, your body won't get hurt. Even if you mess up, you typically face no real-world consequences. There's less interpersonal complexity. This makes many young people averse to in-person interaction or workplace environments. They prefer to do everything online. Over time, this fosters anxiety about the real world, and a desire to retreat from it. So just as advertising brings adults back to youth, online interaction prevents teenagers from growing up. 2. Emotionally simplistic communication. Online, you can like what you enjoy instantly, or lash out at what offends you. Things that rarely happen offline. For instance, if a teacher says something you disagree with in real life, you might be upset but you likely won't confront them harshly. Because you know them, respect them, understand their complexity. Even with strangers, you perceive them as full human beings. Not just symbols to attack. But online, when you're facing a distant anonymous account, there are no such restraints. Hence, online abuse. So paradoxically, while the internet provides physical safety, it creates psychological insecurity. People become hypersensitive to others' opinions, and are willing to take extreme actions for validation and approval. Hayward cites two shocking examples. Ollie London, a British man obsessed with BTS member Jimin, underwent multiple surgeries to reshape his face to resemble his idol. Anthony Lofredo, a French man, transformed his face to resemble an alien, removing his nose and upper lip, inserting implants into his skull, and even splitting his tongue. These men did become famous. But at what cost? Isn't social media supposed to be a virtual space? Why go under the knife? That's the power of emotion. From 2007 to 2015, the U.S. youth suicide rate rose by 46%. As Jonathan Haidt has argued, smartphones may be harming teen mental health. Hayward seems to agree. We've discussed that phones may not be the only culprit. But there's no denying that people are becoming less able to tolerate disagreement or criticism. Psychologically, we're growing more fragile. The third mechanism. Education. Today's education system exhibits zero tolerance for emotional harm. From kindergarten onward, children are discouraged from rough play. In the US, 250 preschoolers are suspended or expelled every day for misconduct. In high schools, corporal punishment is out. And now, students are even attacking teachers. In universities, the situation is absurd. Hayward describes modern campuses as government-funded daycare centers. Even assigning a Grimm's fairy tale now requires a trigger warning, in case the content causes trauma. Campuses set up comfort rooms with therapy dogs, coloring books, and children's board games. Parents frequently intervene in college affairs. Even faculty team-building events resemble elementary school sports days. What Hayward finds especially intolerable is how political correctness interferes with learning. For example, a professor at USC Business School was suspended for using the Chinese word 那个 means that in a lecture, because it sounded like a racial slur in English. Professors' authority is declining, while students' sense of entitlement is rising. Curriculum design, academic policy, and even faculty evaluations are increasingly influenced by student feedback. Universities are no longer focused on knowledge and skills but on emotional care. When material is too hard or too dry, schools don't challenge students to think. Instead, they try to cutify, infantilize, or sensualize the content. Failing that, they just drop it. Teachers now rarely criticize students. Instead, they offer constant praise and indiscriminate encouragement. Grading standards are so lenient that GPAs are heavily inflated. Almost everyone gets an A. So rest assured, It's not elites manipulating the masses with pacifier entertainment. Even Ivy League institutions are affected. Education and academia should be about rigor and responsibility. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You can't abandon academic standards just to avoid offending students. But that's exactly what's happening. This overprotective environment allows no criticism, no failure, no adversity training. It only offers a safe space. What happens when students like this enter the real world? Can they handle conflict? Negotiate? Endure rejection? The answer is troubling. Hayward recounts a young female employee who was corrected by her boss for a spelling mistake. She couldn't handle it, so she called her mom during work. The mother, unbelievably, asked the boss not to point out her daughter's mistakes. In short, adults no longer act like adults. Children don't act like children. Teachers don't act like teachers. Students don't act like students. Infantilized people are more emotionally reactive and less attuned to responsibility. This trend arises from three mechanisms. 1. Advertising distorts reality. It tells us that hardship, failure, and stress are abnormal, that we deserve to indulge ourselves like children and live in the moment. 2. The internet amplifies the distortion. Online emotions explode more easily, making people hypersensitive and easily hurt. 3. Education accommodates the distortion. Seeing how fragile students are, schools overprotect and cater to them, at the cost of real learning and the development of adult responsibility. Infantilisation is tied to material abundance. But a good life doesn't have to lead to pacifier entertainment. This is the result of multiple reinforcing trends. You might say, well, it's still better than the hardship of the past. Sure. Every benefit brings its own drawbacks. But society must keep evolving. And that means facing and correcting the side effects. That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.